Cultural variable. Actually, this word culture has come from Latin word cultura. It means worship. So from the Latin word it is derived. Many definitions are given to the culture, but here I am going to give I think two, three definitions. But if you go through the books, you will find n number of definitions are there on culture, but you can't ignore any of these. So all these are highlighted one aspect. A culture is defined as a culture refer to the cumulative deposits of knowledge, experience, belief, values, attitudes, meanings, hierarchies, religion, notions of time, roles, concept of the universe, the material objects and possessions acquired by the group of people in the course of generations through individual and group striving. This is one aspect. So here, terms of knowledge means not only the writing part, sculptures, not only all these things, even the knowledge regarding to our, suppose for example, if you see our ancestors constructed big ports, and even the different tools are there with different designs and architectures. So all these things also we used to consider it as a knowledge, and they use different varieties of the preservatives to preserve different food items or any other valuable species. So all these things also we used to consider the knowledge. So these are part of our culture and our values and attitudes. So we can't ignore. So what are there tangible or intangible in our way of life? So all these things here are considered. And other definitions are given that it is a system of knowledge, is relatively a large. We used to, because it is not a hereditary aspect. What are the culture is there? Because if it is a hereditary, the person, if the people are moving from one region to another region or one continent to another continent, they have to possess the same. But in reality, it is not happening. There is a slogan also is there, proverb. If you are in a Rome, be as a Roman. So that means wherever you are going to accumulate, or you are going to be adjusted towards that culture or towards that environment. So that's why it is a shared one. Another definition is given by this Topstra and David. This is given in terms of international management point of view. This definition: culture is a learned, shared, compelling, interrelated set of symbols whose meaning provides a set of orientations for members of society. These orientations taken together provide solutions to problems that all societies must solve if they are to remain viable. So here it is a large perspective, macro level, all those aspects are included. Like one side it is a shared one, not only shared, through experience we used to learn certain aspects. And these all these experiences sometimes we have to be compiled and we have to interrelate of set of symbols also. We used to represent through different sometimes we used to express in terms of symbol. If you see one particular symbol, we used to say that okay, this is representing so and so. Or if you give one symbol, it will tell as so and so. For example, if you see the road safety symbols or traffic symbols, but by looking at the symbol itself you are going to it is conveying certain meaning. No one used to tell, we used to understand, we used to learn from our elders, and we used to again pass it on to our youngers. And here these experiences, learned or acquired knowledge, all these things are useful to solve certain problems which are prevail in the society. If we are not able to solve means we may not exist. The mankind who the existed means it's keep on undergoing certain changes and is to facing certain problems, and those problems also be solving by using a certain aspects or parameters. So culture is the a part of that. If you are able to solving your societal problem is by using the cultural aspects. And if you see the cultural variables, See here, the culture is the center point. From this, you will get many things. Religion is there, experience are there. Through experience, it will consider the learned aspects and notion of time. Our ideas at a particular time. It is also be not constant. It will. These things are keep on changes. Also, our roles, what we are performing in the society, in a family. What is our role as a brother or sister or father or mother? Sometimes used to play a role as that family head or maybe the community head or leader. So what type of roles we are performing, this is also part of the culture. The same manner, the norms, what we are creating, our communication is there, metal objects also there. Sometimes we used to give preference to particular metals in a particular occasions. Our beliefs, possessions means the having the belongings, the knowledge is there, our values, concept of the universe. These aspects will be considered as cultural variables. So we even not only this, the other aspects also there. If you go through the different definitions, one variable will be added here. If you are keep on adding, it's not sufficient. So these are some of the variables, or maybe we can say some of the important aspects of the cultural variables. And if you see the manifesto of the culture, from all these things, certain authors are a set of layers, the outer layer to innermost layer. For example, if you see the onion, it is also having the layers. If you are peeling out one after one, you will see the each one after one. In the same manner, we used to find out in a different aspects also layers. So here the symbols, heroes, rituals, values, and practices is given. But here mostly this is the culture is contains the majorly four layers. The outermost layer is called symbol, and after that, if you go, you will get the heroes of the culture. And after that, if you see little bit in depth, if you go, you will get rituals. And if you go the in after crossing that, you will find the values and the practices. If you see symbols here, if for example, we know that religiously, each religion has is to represent with one particular symbol, certain symbols, whether it is a lotus, or om, or a cross, or star, or sometimes we used to represent with certain colors. These things will express particular aspects of the information. They used to communicate certain information with these symbols. Even with our homes, or maybe for example, if you see in our Nehu, we used to represent the entire Nehu with a logo, a certain logo. Speak about our university. Whenever if you see that symbol, no one will say that this is a certain color or certain words. We used to speak that this is our university. So the symbol is speaking. Even in the same manner, if you see the flag, our national flag representing India. So like this, these symbols are, it is the outermost one, and these are easily, we can say that these are mostly we can say tangible also in most of the times. Or we can see with our eyes directly. If you go some more in depth to understand the culture, you can see the heroes. These heroes are maybe real or fantasy also. For example, if you see the real heroes in the sense to whom we saw with our eyes, naked eyes. For example, we know our national leaders, the freedom fighters, Vivekananda. So all these are the heroic figures, or even sometimes the fantasy also is there. Maybe sometimes we used to see in our stories. We may not, we never see that person how they are. We used to visualize ourselves, whether maybe they are false, but it used to represent certain qualities or characteristics. For example, for the children, we are seeing the Tom and Jerry. It is representing with certain characters in the form of animals. Or maybe you see the Jungle Book. All the animals used to represent with certain names, and those names are used to they used to have the certain qualities also. These things never no one used to explain what they are. We used to whenever we are going to uh, in depth you are studying, we used to learn through those leaders because these people used to influence the society. Even if you say our cinematic heroes, favorite players, whether it is cricket, football, hockey, or tennis, kabaddi, so all these people are considered as heroes. But in the same manner, sometimes in a particular cultural people also, a group of people also have their own heroes or heroines. If you go beyond that, you will see the rituals. Normally, if you see, you may not understand. Once you are participated in that, or if you are trying to know what these are, if suppose marriage is there, so the entire decoration or maybe doing certain aspects, the performing certain kind of activities is again differ. If any person died, the activities differ. Performing activities are differ. If you are achieved certain aspects, that time the celebrations are there, birthday celebrations are there, anniversaries are there, and even these things are not only to the family, not only society, even to the organizations also. They used to celebrate their own rituals. For example, if you see Nehu, our campus used to celebrate Foundation Day, and we used to celebrate Varsity Week. These are our institute's rituals. When it comes to the department, we used to celebrate different activities, our HR conclave, mosaic. All these are the part of rituals. These things are again varies from different levels. It may not constant to all. It may vary. The last one is the values. Values is it may not be understand that much easily. Sometimes we may not understood, but we used to follow just like that. And here other aspect used to comes. It will talk about what are the good or bad, honesty. We used to tell dharma, adharma in our Indian culture, if you say. But these things will change from. It's all these things are not constant. Sometimes it will depends on the time factor also, time and situation. In a time and situation, what is right, it may not right in a particular situation. These values are will changes from certain time, the condition, the position, or from the situation. But another aspect is that if you want to know all these things through practices only, if there is no any practice, you can't understand this culture. If there is no practice, you never identify there is a cultural aspects there. Without practice, you can't identify also. So, if you want to see any particular culture, there should be a certain practices. Through practices only, we are going to see, analyze, or we are going to learn about the symbols, the cultural heroes, and the rituals of the culture and values of the cultures. And these values are not constant from one culture to another culture. In the same manner, all these symbols or heroes or rituals, it may not be a constant. It may not be similar. Here, the utmost part is the symbol and heroes. So these parts mostly used to influence it. It may transform from one culture to another culture very easily. These two utmost, the outer layer one, symbols is to transform very easily. For example, if in our way of dressing, there are many fashion designs or the fashion garments we are using. So all these things are very easily, that means highly influenced and highly vulnerable to change. Our heroes also. Maybe you may like one player now. The next after 5 years down or 10 years down, your hero in the particular game will be changed. But the rituals and values part, it's not that much easily changes. It will take problem, but these things also will change, but it will take more time. It generations of time is required. It is to take for changes in these aspects. And these practices are the intangible one. We can't if you want to understand the real meaning of the culture, we can understand through practices only. If you look at the practices or once you performed or if you are practiced those rituals or the values, then only you can understand a certain culture. And here culture also is not one broad aspect. It is having the different how the manifesto of culture is there, different layers. In the same manner, in culture also again varies. Different levels are there. One is the national culture. See here, based on this, the name itself will reflect what it means. National level, that means national culture, regional culture, gender level culture, generation level culture, social class level, and corporate level cultures. The name itself will explain what it means. For example, if you see the national culture, whenever we are singing a national anthem, we used to stand up. That is means that is a part of our culture. We used to say our culture means it is considered as a national culture, and our national heroes also is there, heroines also is there. Our national festivals are there. National level we used to celebrate the entire nation. Our national level we are having our own feelings are there, our emotions are there. It used to link with our national level. It will comes to the regional level. For example, Assam we used to celebrate Bihu, and Meghalaya here we used to celebrate Wangala. These are the regional level. And again, there is some similarities are there and dissimilarities also there, uniqueness also there between these two cultures. So like that, if you go to the other states or other regions, you will find different aspects. They used to celebrate different types of festivals, and their beliefs are again different. And compared with this, among these cultures, the regional level cultures, the beliefs also differ, and the way of their attitudes also is differ, their activities also is differ, their practices also is differ. And when it comes to the next, another one is that gender level associated with gender differences, male and female. That means in general, we used to say that male used to perform certain activities and female used to perform certain activities. And again, certain restrictions also. Male should not do this, female should not do this. We used to say that this type of activity we used to see in each and every culture. Another aspect is the generation level. So generation level, if you see from past, suppose before independence time, how our ancestors, how our forefathers used to perform the same cultural practices. But after sometime after 10 years or after 20 years, after 40 years or 50 years, at present now, if you see there are certain changes, but these changes never takes place at immediately at one point. Slowly, these things are started changing. For example, if you see using language, 100 years back, the use of particular language is different. The wording is different. A certain meanings are maybe the words. At present we are not at all. We don't know, and we are not uttering also. A certain words, those people don't know what we are using now. Now different languages are merged, and new concepts and new words are emerged. And again, these words may not sustain for the next 10 years. Some of the words maybe disappear. Some new words may come. So that means these are the changes taking place through generations. What our grandfather knows or seen the different aspects are now we are not seeing. After maybe 10 years or 20 years, what we saw at present, the next coming generation may not see. They used to find a different huge changes. Even for example, if you see our clothing itself, our way of dressing, we know that 20 years back how we used to dress, but now how we are dressing, how we used to construct our houses, what type of houses we used to construct, but now how it is, and what type of food we used to eat. Nowadays, if you see that different fast foods are there, different varieties, noodles, all these things we don't know 10 years back, not 10 years, 20 years back or 30 years back. But at present, these are the common. Even the 2 years or 3 years child used to say that the noodles, I want this, and I want chocolate, all these aspects. But previously, those people don't know. They don't know what these words also. Same manner, we too don't know. And next one is the social class level. A social class level means it is related with different aspects of social statuses. In the sense, for example, educated, literate, and illiterates. What type of work they are doing, whether it is suppose for example doctors, engineers, teachers, helpers, security forces, if may work. But even there also certain positions are there again. Junior, senior. So this type of variations we used to see. These are considered as a social class. These things will come based on our occupation and position in the occupation levels. And another aspect is there associated with the cultural practice related to the organization. Their way of culture is again different. Their way of dressing, the way of activities they performed, it is completely differ from one organization to another organization. Each and every organization has its own culture. These cultural aspects are unique in some aspects and sometimes it is similar also. So all these things are about our culture.